It's 5:30.
And the time is 5:30.
Good evening. Welcome to the Moraga-Orinda Fire District Regular Board Meeting, August 20th, 2025. This is the 5:30 closed session. We'll call the meeting to order and have a roll call, please, Marcia.
Director Danziger.
Here.
Director Jex.
Here.
And Director Jex is participating by Zoom from Utah. Director Romer.
Here.
Vice President Jorgens.
Here.
And President Hassler is absent.
Okay, then we'll go to the Pledge of Allegiance. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands,
One nation
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay.
We'll now open for public comment. We do not have any attendees. And no public comment.
So we'll close the public comment
We can adjourn into,
and we will
Closed
now
session.
adjourn into the closed session. Thank you very much. And the open session
Time-
starts at 7 o'clock.
thank you. Time is 5:31. Director Jex, you're going to leave this meeting and go ahead and go into the closed session Zoom link.
That's what I'm doing now.
Okay. So Director Jex, you're still in the open session. So at the bottom of your screen, you should see the leave meeting button. And go ahead and leave this meeting.
Okay.
Okay, the time is 7 o'clock. We can begin the meeting.
I'm sorry.
And if we can pause one moment so I can start the recording.
Okay, I'll call the meeting back to order. Can we have a roll call, please, Marcia?
Yes, and the time is 7:01. Director Danziger,
Here.
Director Jex,
Here.
Director Jex is attending by Zoom from Utah. Director Romer,
Here.
Vice President Jorgens,
Here.
and President Hassler is absent.
Okay, there is nothing to report from the closed session. Do we have any brief information on the reports related to meetings attended by a director at district expense?
No, not here.
None?
None?
Do we have any questions and informational comments from board members and staff? Hearing none, I'll move on. Any communications received?
None.
None that aren't in the packet already.
Correct. We have public comment or later.
Then we move on to the chief updates. Chief Isaacs.
Good evening, directors. We have a brief finance report this evening. We'll start with the strike team reimbursement update. The strike team receivable for fiscal year 2024-2025 was $1.8 million. We've received payments of $1.6 million, and we have an outstanding receivable of $195,866. The estimated receivable so far for 2025-2026 is $85,781, and we have received no payments. So the outstanding receivable for fiscal year 26 is $85,781. For fiscal year 25, invoices have been received from OES for all of our strike team activity. We have 2 outstanding invoices that we are waiting to be paid, and those make up the $195,000 receivable. For fiscal year 26, it's based on F-42s we received to date. We still have several personnel out on strike teams, and so the F-42s will continue to come in. Next slide. Treasury bill update. The district now has $21,815,000 invested in treasury bills. The treasury bill maturities are laid out below. The staff will project cash flows to determine the amount of reinvestment available when the treasury bills mature. Next slide. Other items, the fiscal year 2025 audit will take place the week of August 25th. That concludes my report, unless there are any questions.
Okay. And then before we go on to the human resources,
Hi, good evening, directors. Our new budget approved the position of ambulance supervisor, tasked with helping establish and supervise the new single role positions. I would like to invite Mr. Niels Tangerlini to come up and introduce himself to our board. And I can attest that since he's come on day one, I'm not sure if he's sat down. He's been very busy, and we're very happy to have him. Niels?
Thanks, Chief. Board of Directors, pleasure to meet you. As said, Niels Tangerlini. I've been a paramedic for 34 years. Had the honor now of just reaccrediting here in the county. So I just finished my 5-call evaluation this evening, just before coming here. But I was telling someone the last time I did that was 30 years ago. But yeah, I retired out of San Francisco after 30 years and was very honored to have this opportunity to come here and put this work with the district to put this program together.
Great. Welcome aboard. There was a great article about you at in the Orinda Weekly, which I enjoyed reading, and it was very impressive. So
Thank you.
very happy to have you.
Thank you.
As a former San Francisco employee, I have to say that Niels, all but created whole new models of how paramedicine works, and is really we are very lucky to have you, Niels. He's a real star in the field.
That's great.
Thank you.
Welcome aboard. We'll look
Thank
forward to
you.
working with
You
you.
get to run calls now? Is that certified now? MOSD?
I'm certified to go run calls now.
All right.
Absolutely.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Niels.
Thanks.
human resources.
Great. Good evening, directors. Tonight I have a recruitment and employee change update. For the recruitment update, oral board interviews and EMS evaluations were hosted on August 27th through the 29th for all 3 single role positions. Eligibility lists have been established. For the senior single role paramedic positions, we received 9 applications. 4 met the minimum qualifications and were invited to the oral board interview and EMS evaluation. All 4 passed and were placed on the eligibility list. Of those, 3 passed the chief's interview and are now moving through the background process.
Christine, before you go on that, I believe the plan is to hire 6. Am I right? Or
Correct.
total?
Yeah,
So we
so
still- we have to-
3 senior single role and then 3 single role
Oh, just-
paramedics.
3, 6? Okay, got it.
And then for single role paramedic, we received 11 applications. 9 met the minimum qualifications and were invited to the oral board and EMS evaluation. We had 2 no-shows and 2 withdrawals. 4 passed the oral board and EMS evaluation and were placed on the eligibility list. And they've passed the chief's interview and are now moving through the background process.
All 4?
Yes. And for EMT, we received 122 applications. 87 met the minimum qualifications, with 45 passing the second review, which was having 911 transporting experience. The 45 candidates were invited to the oral board and EMS evaluation. We had 6 no-shows, 3 withdrawals, and 13 did not schedule. So we ended up seeing a total of 23 candidates. 9 passed the interview and EMS evaluation and were placed on the eligibility list. And the candidates on the eligibility list have been notified that their background process will begin toward the end of the year.
So what was the plan? How many total single role EMTs were we going to hire?
11,
So we have to go out again? Is that what the plan
likely
is?
so.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're just hoping that these people that now have passed the hurdles are going to wait around for 3 more months.
Mhm.
Oh, boy.
That sounds risky.
Directors, if I may, as we went through this process and we interviewed the senior paramedics, the regular paramedics, and then the EMTs, what became evident to staff was we had a small pool, but a small pool of really good candidates. So our original plan that I presented several months back was to hire the senior paramedics with their EMT partners, put them through the training, the 5-call, everything that we have for them to do, and then staff medic 45 with that single role staffing. As this process has evolved and we saw regular paramedics, single role paramedics, and the good candidates that we had, we decided to pivot and hire all the paramedics at once, put them through their training, their 5-call, and get them spun up on Medic 45. And then as we transition to the later phase 2 and phase 3, hire the EMTs, we felt there was a high likelihood we would lose those single role paramedics if we waited until the first of the year, where we had a deeper candidate pool of the EMTs. So we've gone ahead to pivot towards that. We plan to present more to the board as we get closer to the 5-call. We also know that traditionally, when we run candidates through the 5-call process, that we end up losing 1 or 2 candidates through that process, not able to pass. So more details to follow to the board as we start transitioning to the 5-call and we see how the candidates are doing. But I just wanted to brief the board on that pivot from hiring the paramedic and EMT to just the paramedics.
Makes sense. That's great.
All right. And then lastly, for employment changes, our engineer, Timothy Williams, has retired after 19 years of service.
Do we have a present engineer list?
No, our next scheduled engineer testing process is in March 2026.
Seems like a long time.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay. That concludes my update. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Fire prevention.
Good evening, directors. I'll give a brief fire prevention report this evening. Our fire marshal, Casey Irving, is heading to Southern California with the Cal Chiefs organization, who is going to tour a wildfire resistant neighborhood, a new community being developed in San Diego County. So we felt it was a great opportunity for her to go down and see the process, learn about the process, understand the workings, how the planning department, the fire prevention, the city, the county, the elected officials how everybody got together to build this community that meets the IBHS standard for a wildfire resistant or resilient neighborhood. So staff has been real busy with the exterior hazard abatement and our inspections for the state mandated. You can see year to date, we're 2,925 inspections, still issuing a lot of citations. We're seeing a lot of requests and people disagreeing with us and, wanting to argue. And that's because we're in new neighborhoods. So we really take the opportunity to educate them. If it's a first time offense, we're going and they've complied, we will waive their fines for them. As we've always said, this is for education purposes. But we have had those cases where we've been there many times. And this is the third year we're telling you, and we're not waiving the fees. So we do have a lot of those cases. Chipping days so far, we've been able to get 10 days of chipping in between inspections and everything else. We've scheduled the school inspections for September, let the teachers and the students get back into the classrooms, and then we'll come in September and do the inspections. The R2 dorms at St. Mary's, all of them are passed. But they passed the inspection before the students got there. We know once the kids get there, they bring violations. One of the reasons we were really working with St. Mary's College and really holding to the rule they weren't going to be allowed to move students in unless they passed. They had a small fire that Chief Lambert will show you and discuss during his operations report. But the cause of that fire was some of the violations we find in the dorms. So we were done messing around with them, done, being nice guy. They needed to get those fire and life safety inspections and violations corrected before they moved the students in. And when we put our foot down, they stepped up and they got all their dorms compliant. So, kind of kudos to them and, to Fire Marshal Irving for working with them and taking the extra time to educate them where they needed to be educated. Yes, sir.
So just back on
Your microphone is muted.
back on the chipper. So we had talked in previous meetings about, if there was demand, we would hire outside people to use our chipper to go ahead and do the work. Are we finding that we're needing to do that, or?
It's a combination of both, sir. We have days that are light on the inspections or light on follow-up, so we can split the crew and send two people out to chip. There are days where we do hire the contract chipper. It just depends on the demand.
And are we hiring the chipper and the people, or just the people?
Yes, sir. We're hiring a company to use their equipment and their truck. And the city of Orinda, through their Measure R chipper, is also going that direction instead of having contractors use city equipment. I'm concerned about having non-MOFD staff drive our equipment with our logo on the side. And, if they cause damage to another vehicle or something like that. Plus there's questions of insurance. And what I found is most of our tree contractors, they don't want to run our equipment. They want to run their stuff they're familiar with.
Okay.
There were 21 new inspections, the fine waivers, 21 were approved, 4 were denied. Is there another slide with this, Marsha?
That's it. That is-
Just that one. Happy to answer any questions, and Fire Marshal Irving next month will give a update to her meeting that she's attending, and then also go through her normal reports that we missed for July.
I don't have any questions, but viewing June versus July, I think there's been excellent progress made. Especially I've been looking at the numbers on juniper and bamboo removal, which, now it's 3 years, I think. We're down to 15 cases, so I think that's a great improvement. It was 33 in June, now it's 15 as of today. So, and the total violations are way down. So good work. Keep it up.
Thank you, sir.
Good job.
Operations report.
Evening, directors. I'm giving an operations report since the last time we met with a briefing of some significant incidents and details throughout our district. Next slide. And this is beginning on August 7th at approximately 13:53 hours. Our crews responded to report of a vegetation fire in the 500 block of Ream Boulevard in Moraga. Upon arrival, the first arriving engine experienced approximately a quarter acre of light flashy fuels, the seasonal grass that you see before you, burning uphill towards an immediate threat to the homes that you see there. MOFD started an aggressive initial attack and were able to contain the fire to approximately 1/2 acre. It was contained later at 14-12 hours. No structures were damaged, and I'm happy to report that there were no injuries at the time of the incident either. One thing to note, you can see right on the edge of the black there, that's a hand line. And that hand line, we cut that hand line down to bare mineral soil. That's 1.5 times the fuel. It prevents if there were any flare-ups from crossing over to the unburned fuel. That hand line is cut by hand by firefighters and in an effort to prevent any growth after we leave. That is our standard, along with the next slide, please.
Okay. Is that the same fire?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Quick one. So when I looked at that, it didn't look like 100 feet from the property lines out into that, it looked like there was taller grass further out. There was, 30 or 40 feet, but 100 feet out, it was the taller grass. So did we not force them to do the 100 feet all the way around the lot?
In terms of the prevention
Yep.
or the abatements, I cannot speak to the abatements beforehand, but it is something that we're reviewing, and I know I am confident that there was some education prior to. I'd have to defer to Fire Marshal Irving for any education or requirements that were had beforehand. What I can say is that when we were done, in addition to the hand line, the picture on your left, that's the infrared that was flown by our drone as well, and also provided by Rescue One. We have a member here from our Rescue One committee that makes sure that there's no hotspots after we leave. This fire was determined with the assistance of Moraga PD. That fire, it's hard to see on the slide there. That picture on the right is a remote controlled lawnmower. There was a spark that occurred that started that fire. And again, I'll note the hours at 13:53 approximately in that day. That's when the property owner was attempting to abate the area. Next slide.
We obviously didn't have I don't know if it's required, but certainly smart to carry a fire extinguisher, or at least have one around so you could run up and put the fire out if you found you caused a fire.
Yeah, that would be helpful. But again, what would be helpful is to do this before our abatement deadlines and on a day that's suitable for abatements, particularly with lawnmowers. And if you'll recall, a couple months ago, I put a picture in an adjacent district of somebody with a push lawnmower in grass, and as a PSA. Unfortunately, we ran into this in our own district, but fortunately, nobody got hurt. And no homes were damaged. We've certainly continued work with our homeowners and property owners as an example of what not to do. Next slide.
Hey, Chief Lambert, let me
Yes, sir.
jump in. Marcia, can you go back one slide, please? Directors, as Chief Lambert has said this, we know the cause on this one. The property did not have the required abatement. They had been complaining to the fire marshal, field mitigation manager. It was too expensive. I need more time, and we're dragging their feet. We will be going after cost recovery on this fire because, as Chief Lambert said, we have a deadline. There's a reason we have that June 1st deadline, is to allow you to be mowing your grass when it hasn't cured, when the humidities aren't down, where using equipment in an unsafe manner is going to cause that fire. You can see we got lucky. It did potentially burn the property of another. So we will be proceeding with cost recovery for this fire.
Do you have any idea how much roughly that is?
I think it was just over $1,000. There was no aircraft. We were able to contain it very quickly. Had this escalated for, 3 or 4 hours with aircraft, it would have been significantly more.
Seems cheap.
Yes, sir. They're lucky.
Maybe.
Many aspects. Next slide, please. This incident, I'd like to review here, and I'd like to recognize the members of our staff, Captain Anthony Grigorovic, Engineer Evan Ford, and firefighter paramedic Eddie Epperson, for an EMS call that was called out by the Contra Costa County local EMS authority. That's LIMSA. That's the governing body of EMS for our county. This call was recognized for the attention and the quick action by our crews through the 911 system. Just real briefly, this was a 72-year-old male that was riding BART and the chief complaints were hiccups. Okay. All vital signs were within normal limits that were taken by the crew there. The patient denied any onset of blurred vision, dizziness, weakness, or vertigo. And later, the MRI revealed that there was an acute ischemic stroke. So there was a clot that caused the stroke. I want to recognize this and bring it to the attention that a chief complaint is the reason why you're activating the 911 system. In this case, it was for hiccups, which is there's not a whole lot for our crews to go off. And at times, all that you have is gut instinct. The firefighter paramedic that was attending to this 911 emergency, there were a couple indications that did not set right for him, and told the receiving hospital that I believe that this is a stroke. That activation of a stroke alert led to a fast transport to the hospital and also led to a quick MRI, which extended the life of this person. So I'm happy to report this and again was called out by LIMSA to us for recognition as well.
What were the other indications?
Speaking with the firefighter paramedic, that there was some unstableness on his feet, the events leading up to and taking in additional information from the spouse that was there as well. But it was very limited. No vital signs, no details that really were glaring to him. It was a gut instinct that, hey, something else is going on. I don't know what it is, but this person needs definitive care quickly.
Wow.
Well done.
Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah. Agreed. Next slide. This was another incident on July 7th at approximately 1850 hours. MOFD responded to a smoke detector activation at the Sona Center at St. Mary's College. Upon arrival, the first engine recognized smoke coming from the building, where he quickly activated the balance of a full alarm for a commercial structure fire assignment. Fortunately, the crews were able to contain the fire to the area of origin. And that picture on your left, that's our firefighters removing water after a fire sprinkler activation, which also causes damage. But again, we are happy to report that we were able to get an aggressive attack and limit the exposure of fire. The area or the picture on the right is a burn mark on the wall, and we call that a V pattern. And that's an indication of the point of origin of where the fire was. That's a classic sign. This fire was caused by extension cords that were linked together and overloaded the system that sparked the fire. Happy to report again, no injuries at the time of incident.
Wow.
Next slide. On July 20th, our crews were invited to attend a hosted gathering by a Firewise neighborhood in the Orinda Downs. We want to recognize the efforts by the organized neighborhoods for a great attendance. And this is an early picture that I took. It was a great opportunity for the folks to ask questions, share information, As I spoke with one of the other directors, we received this well, that there was a whole range of questions, including what do I do if I have an emergency at my house? Like I'm having a medical emergency, to where can I get gutter guards, and what are some standards from the district by way of ordinance? This was a great opportunity, and I want to recognize that this neighborhood put together an excellent event. It was well attended. Next slide. This is a picture on July 8th. Our district hosted an interagency training to simulate a rapid moving vegetation fire that spread into adjacent homes in the Moraga-Orinda, Kensington, El Cerrito area. That picture on your left is a tool that was lent to us by Marin County Fire. It's a 3D sand table. So it helps us simulate a fire. The picture on the right is one of our sand tables that we use to simulate with yarn and different little die casts, and then all the agencies that were in attendance. We're grateful to host this and have the open discussion between agencies. Next slide. All right. This picture is taken by our firefighter paramedics. They are no longer recruits. I'm happy to announce that they've completed their 18-month probation as of the beginning of July. So they will join the ranks of our firefighter paramedics, and we congratulate them on their successful probation. We're actually missing one from this picture. So we've graduated 4 into our ranks that have met our standards under the probationary standard.
Great.
That's great.
Congratulations to all.
Certainly. Thank you. Next slide. All right, this is a picture of another simulated incident that was led by Chief Isaacs and our administrative staff. And this was an exercise of another rapid moving fire in Orinda that had threatened multiple homes. This exercise was to simulate that we, as MOFD, are self-contained, meaning we don't have the resources that we would normally would. So this exercise walked us through the planning process, what we could incur in the different positions, and how we can overcome it. We were able to answer a lot of questions among staff, but we were able to ask a lot of questions too that we're working towards answers, and that was how it was intended. Through this, we've developed a number of other documents for us to use as resources if in the event that we're faced with this situation. Thank you. Next slide. This is National Night Out on August 5th. That's Chief Rossi, Orinda PD Chief, joined by our team, City of Orinda elected officials and members of the community. Our district, our firefighters were out throughout our district in different neighborhoods. This is a great opportunity to interact with our communities. We've enjoyed it. That's Chief Rossi, and I will note that girl right there throws one heck of a fastball because he ended up in the water. Next slide. And I just want to show a picture. This is a 2002 Spartan High Tech. We purchased this engine from our partners at San Ramon Valley Fire. It just received decals and a new coat of wax. And completed its pump testing. There's some things that we're still working out and providing an in-service to staff, but we hope to start working towards that in the coming days, so that we can. This will allow us to service our vehicles and allow some relief on our fleet as we've experienced some delays in apparatus orders. Next slide. This is a prescribed fire that we conducted on the 18th of this month, just a couple days ago on Monday. In total, there's about 3 acres that we burned, but as you can see, this fire was prescribed to increase the distance of an area on the ridgetop. That's a road that we burned off of. And as always, there's a benefit to bringing a prescription, but also to limit future fires if one were to occur, and training to our staff. So we just completed this on Monday. That's our most recent prescribed burn. Next slide.
What is jihad? What is that?
GAD. GAD is the GAD property, and it's just adjacent to the John Muir Land Trust in Moraga near Painted Rock.
Okay.
Next slide. And as we heard from our HR manager, engineer Tim Williams, and as you know, my objective is to always bring forward the most embarrassing picture that I can find. So this is Tim Williams. I want to recognize him for nearly 2 decades of service to our district and communities. A lot of tool checks, apparatus checks, which he was always famous for and very meticulous with. This is Engineer Tim Williams. To us, we know him as Flusher because he has a background with plumbing. So he took on the nickname as Flusher, and many people may not know, but Flusher was a graduate of Camp Lindo High School, class of 1999, where he began his career with MOFD, working under then Fire Marshal Tanya Hoover as a reserve firefighter. Tim went on to get hired in 2006 as a full-time firefighter with MOFD, and then further promoted to the rank of engineer in 2013. His passion for mechanics is something that has bled on to the generations that serve our department currently, and something that we will always remember. When Tim wasn't teaching others about fire engines, mechanics, pumps, engines, he was working on his own equipment at home. Tim was somebody that I know always loved his family, especially his children, and has served our communities well for, like I said, nearly 2 decades. We want to recognize Tim for his time here, and hope that he enjoys a happy, healthy retirement. This concludes my report, pending any questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
And this is a listing of our upcoming events.
so MOFD events, September 17th, 25, the Board of Directors meeting, and then external events, August 23rd, 25, the lemonade stand for St. Jude at 9 Oak Road in Orinda, August 26th, 25, the Nursery Preschool, and August 28th, 2025, Learn and Play Preschool. So any public comment on announcement items 6.1 through 6.4?
So we did receive 5 written public comments. 4 were included in the packet. 1 came after the packet posted, which all are posted on our website and were forwarded to the directors. Those comments were from Scott Parker, Masaka Hiramaya, and then 3 from Nick Warrenoff. We have 1 hand raised for public comment, and we have 1 in-person public comment from Nick Warrenoff.
Okay, let's take the hand raised first. So we get that out of the way.
So you should be unmuted to speak.
Can you state your name for us, please?
My name is Brian Coyle. Thank you for letting me speak tonight. I'm actually an inventor who specializes primarily in veterinary and human medical devices, but I'm here to talk about something different, a technology I developed called Siren Guide. In dense urban areas, not where we live, emergency vehicle sirens are one of the top public complaints. The sound doesn't stay at the street level. It penetrates apartments and offices. Ambulances are the most common emergency sirens they hear. Siren Guide addresses it. It attaches to vehicle sirens and channels sound directly to street level where it's needed while reducing noise into the buildings. And the goal is to maintain emergency response and minimize community
And
impact.
Excuse me,
wanted to
excuse me, sir.
acknowledge-
Just going to pause for a moment. I just want to make sure that the directors can
It's
hear.
hard to hear him. Yeah.
Hey,
There's
Oh,
kind
am I
of,
not speaking loud enough?
Well, I don't think it's a question of volume, it's a question of clarity.
Perhaps maybe you can enunciate a little bit for clarity.
Okay,
okay.
trying to start my video. It doesn't seem to be operating well, but I'll try. Oh, well. Can you hear me better now?
Yes.
Yes.
So I have received tremendous support from Dennis Rain and his staff. They allowed me to conduct testing with my own equipment at your Moraga-Orinda facility. And that was instrumental in developing the technology, and I can't thank them enough. This past May, I took a Siren Guide to New York City to test it on ambulances. And unfortunately, the New York City ambulances used different loudspeakers than what I had tested with. And so the Siren Guide didn't work appropriately. But the noise problem in New York is so significant that the hospital running those ambulances really wants me to figure out how to make it work. And I can't let them down, even though the business model doesn't make a lot of sense. And I could actually use your help a little bit again. I learned some of your units have the same type of loudspeaker as those New York City ambulances. I purchased matching equipment and I'm retrofitting Siren Guide. There's technical stuff I won't bore you with. It just takes time to get parts made and tested and so forth. But before I travel back to New York with a new Siren Guide, I'd like to test it here on one of your vehicles. So I'm asking is just permission to conduct a 1-hour test on an available MOFT vehicle, ideally in September. I would only need to remove a thin piece of metal in the front of the siren, nothing behind the bumper, nothing invasive. Just an hour when the vehicle isn't scheduled for response, emergency response. I would like to add, there's one other thing. I disassembled a housing and speaker and looked at the structure when I was in New York, and I discovered existing sirens are not contained. They're configured to emit sound forward, but a lot of it, like 95 decibels, goes into the engine bay, which is directly in front of the passenger cabin. I don't know if your personnel find it a problem. Perhaps they're well insulated. But if it is an issue, I could develop a simple standalone solution to reduce that noise. For my own testing, I built a housing. So if anyone wants to reach out to me about this, I can leave my phone and number.
And that, I'm sorry, that concludes our 3 minutes for public comment.
So
Okay, thank you.
my comment would be, it sounds like interesting technology. I would recommend you talk to, maybe the deputy chief or the chief and get permission to do that, or at least ask for permission to do that. Thank you for sharing.
Welcome.
Nick, I think that brings up you.
Good evening, members of the board, chiefs, council, staff, members of the public. I'm here tonight to ask you to place something on a future agenda. And that something is that you ask the city of Orinda and the town of Moraga on your behalf to impose a development impact fee to cover the additional fire protection and ambulance services that will be required to serve the 33% plus or minus increase in population that state laws require the city and town to allow. What can we do with respect to this additional population? We can do nothing and just accept a lower level of service, or you can impose a tax on the residents, or state law allows developers to be charged for the cost of maintaining current levels of service. And to the extent that charges cannot be imposed on developers, the law allows you to file a claim with the Commission on State Mandates. I submit we should not accept either a decline in service or new taxes, and that the best way to go is to ask the city and town to impose a development impact fee on your behalf. There's a quirk in the law that Director Jorgens pointed out to me that prohibits a fire district, a special district for fire protection. You cannot impose a development impact fee directly. And I went into this in detail in my written memorandum to you. I spent a lot of time tracking down how to solve this apparent conundrum. And the main example I provided, which is the city of Cotati, went through this process. And at the link I provided, there is all of the information plus actual examples of the city resolution, the sharing, not the sharing, but the agreement covering the collection and distribution of the impact fees, et cetera. So I ask you to put this, obviously you can't do it tonight because it's not on the agenda. I ask you to put on a future agenda whether to make such a request of the city and town. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions?
That's great.
No, I just say, thank you, Nick, and thank you for the information you provided. It was very detailed, thorough. Read through it. I didn't understand it all, but thank you for what you provided.
Well done. Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you.
And that concludes our public comment.
Okay, so on to the consent agenda. Do we have any public comment on the consent agenda?
Well, I'd like to,
Oh, sorry.
I want to pull one.
Okay. Which one?
Okay, so first we open public comment for the consent agenda. We do not have any hands raised or any public comment.
Now you want to
Okay.
modify.
I would like to pull 8.12.
Okay. So do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda, but to pull that one and discuss it later?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve 8.1 through 8.11 on the consent agenda.
Second.
All in
This is
favor?
Romer, second.
Director Danziger,
Aye.
Director Jex,
Aye.
Director Romer,
Aye.
Vice President Jorgens.
Aye. Okay. 8.12.
Yeah, I was just curious about the purchase of the LifePak 35 cardiac monitors. I was going to ask something to our new ambulance supervisor, but I think he's left the room now. Could you just explain what the upgrade is from what we presently have? And, how did it come about? Do we have a committee that approves this? And just a little bit of background about what the improvement's going to be for our community and for our medics.
Yeah, thank you for the question.
And the other thing is, what do we presently use right now?
Yeah, thank you for the question. So I'd like to invite Acting Battalion Chief Jacob Arola to come, who has led the charge in absence of Battalion Chief Jerry Lee, and give some more details as to the monitor as proposed.
This is in our budget already, right?
It is. Good
We
evening.
did this a couple months ago, I think.
So Jacob Rolla, Acting Battalion Chief, and taking over for Jerry Lee, who has done EMS and really kind of planted all this stuff, put it in the budget, as you mentioned, has been approved. So just to confirm, the question is why are we purchasing them and what is the
What's the
benefit?
improvement? What is what's the benefit to the community and to our staff as well, our firefighters?
Certainly. So just out the gate, as it was explained to me, our LP-15s, the current model we use, were purchased in the early 2000s. And I would venture to say that there's probably next to none equipment that you have in your home that's technologically that old that you would say, I'd trust my life with this. Laptops replace all the time, things like that. So I thought that was a good little anecdote out the gate, nor would we want the entire communities, especially their heart, with that type of old equipment. They're phasing them out, so the parts are no longer replaceable. We're not gonna be able to get just the maintenance and warranties and guarantees that things are gonna be continue to work. However, we will still have a reserve monitors that we'll use as we're gonna phase in these new ones, but the intent is to have the latest and greatest, which involves the touchscreen abilities, quicker responses, ability to transmit to hospitals wirelessly, as well as upload to our electronic patient care reports seamlessly, and just have a lot of faster interface and more reliable. There's a lot of technical stuff. Once these are purchased, we could bring them in and do a quick demonstration. As far as the reliability and things for like biphasic shocking and things as it pertains mostly to the heart. However, that does more than that. We can get our vital signs. We can do blood gas monitoring, including carbon monoxide. So for victims of a fire or firefighters that have been exposed to serious smoke, we can determine very quickly if they've had carbon monoxide poisoning, things of that nature. So we use them on nearly every patient. We'll have improved battery life. They're more durable. They're lighter weight.
Lighter
weight. And just a larger screen, which makes things easier. We can use our gloves on them and they're antimicrobial. So there's really no part of it that isn't advanced in some way, even the durability of the cables, things like that. So they are costly, but we're replacing, like I said, every one of our front lines. So a total of 8 are being replaced.
We require, I imagine, training for our.
There'll be an in-service component
In service. Okay.
to recognize and understand the capabilities and the few changes on the interface, but it is designed by the same company. So it'd be the equivalent of, without giving too much credit to Apple, having like an iPhone 3 and then being handed an iPhone 16.
Okay.
So intuitively, we'll understand a lot of it, but the capability and advanced technology in the last 17 years has been significant.
Okay. I appreciate it. Yes, thank you.
If
I know we talked about it at budget time. I know we had the money. I just wanted to hear just a little bit more
Yeah,
about it. So.
If I may.
I don't suppose the Life Pack 35 would help us to diagnose anything like the existence of a blood clot or a stroke, would it? I mean, I'm really surprised by the idea that somebody experiencing hiccups
So
end up with, but I'm guessing that that's probably beyond the scope of the new.
did
You
have
need an
something to answer?
MRI for
You want
that.
me to answer it?
Yeah. So to answer your question in short note, it's a cardiac monitor that's used primarily for electrical impulses within your heart. But funny you should ask that question. Mr. Niels Tangerlini that was here, who I've excused as an hourly employee. He does have experience with other devices, and we've broached the topic with LIMSA of potential trials and exploring other options as with additional staff and experience and connections. So to answer your question, these cardiac monitors are for your heart and not necessarily for stroke or ischemic events such as that.
I would add they built these monitors with the anticipation that the scope will expand and there could be capabilities added to it. Ports, vision, all that type of stuff. We could be able to use these monitors as cameras for other things should that develop in the future, and they can do wireless updates to the software as well.
I'd love to have a show and tell when they show up and
Right.
before meeting, maybe.
Yeah, can be arranged, or we can
Yeah,
even do it.
that'd be
publicly.
great.
Run
So
through. the
that is exactly where I was going. Once we purchase these, we were planning to bring one in, demonstration, and is Chief Lambert and, Acting BC Arola said, this is the first purchase for our frontline equipment. During the next budget cycle, we'll be requesting an additional purchase for all the backup equipment. And the main reason we're upgrading is that our existing monitors are no longer being supported.
All right.
Okay, do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve item 8.12 on the consent agenda.
This is Romer second.
I second it. Elder.
Director Danziger,
Aye.
Director Jex,
Aye.
Director Romer,
Aye.
Vice President Jorgens.
Aye. Okay. The regular agenda, is item 9.1, authorize the fire chief to execute an MOU between the Regents of the University of California, MOFD, and MOFD regarding establishing a Firewise demonstration garden at Station 42, providing that the MOU is acceptable to the fire chief in consultation with district council. Do we have any input from the staff or questions?
Couldn't we just get board member Danziger to do this?
Well. Yeah, we have a.
You're the expert
We have a
on this, aren't
presentation,
you?
but I'll let the chief start.
I'm just kidding.
It's $5,000.
I know
We
you
do
have
have
an
one comment.
expertise in this, so go ahead.
Good evening, directors. I was just going to say this is an excellent opportunity for us to partnership with some people that have the expertise in this area. We receive a lot of complaints, and the board has heard on numerous occasions, people's objection to Zone 0 and how the landscaping is going to look. This is a great opportunity for us to create some fire resistant landscaping in front of one of the fire stations, and to be able to show the members of our public and put on some demonstrations and hold tours. And I believe, Director Danziger, we have a couple members from the UC.
We do, and I just want to remind the board that you actually approved funding for this last fiscal year, but we kind of jumped the gun a little bit because we didn't have the MOU in place, so we didn't do anything last fiscal year. So part of this is to ask for the funding again and we actually have a group set up to work on this project. And I believe I see Anna there, and I wonder, is Dawn on?
Yes, I'm attending by Zoom.
Okay, so I'll just introduce you both. First, we're going to hear just short presentation from Dawn Kudumujian, who is our coordinator for UC Master Gardeners of Contra Costa County. And then she'll introduce Anna, who's going to be the lead on this project.
Great.
So thank you, Director Danziger, and good evening to the board. My name is Dawn Kuyumjian, and I am the coordinator for the University of California Master Gardener Program of Contra Costa County. We are part of UC's Division of Agriculture and Natural Resources. The program is one of a network of 53 Master Gardener programs across the state of California, established by the university in 1980. Its mission is simple: to extend UC's research-based knowledge and information on home horticulture, pest management, and sustainable landscape practices to the residents of California. Guided by acquired knowledge and program initiatives, UC Master Gardeners are volunteers who aim to inspire, to educate, and to build local communities of knowledgeable gardeners. One of our program initiatives includes the Fire Management Policy and Resilience Network. All of our information, outreach, and resources are offered at no charge to the public. They are part of the give back of the university to the community. Last year alone, 263 UC Master Gardeners of Contra Costa County, the volunteers, donated over 34,700 hours of service to the community and had over 8,000 face-to-face contacts. A few of our projects, as an example, are our help desk answering gardening questions, our Speakers Bureau, where we have reached thousands through our webinars in conjunction with the Contra Costa Library, and of course, our demonstration gardens. Our current demonstration gardens focus on food growing and water conservation. We are now expanding our demonstration gardens to include fire education. I am absolutely delighted about the opportunity to partner with the Moraga-Orinda Fire District to educate the public about evidence-based best practices in landscaping and sustainability for gardening in wildfire areas. Now, I would like to introduce Anna Wendorf, who will present the vision of the project. Thank you.
Yes. Hello, everyone. I get to do the fun stuff, and I'm going to share my screen. Oh, except that I need to be able to say, I need you to share. There we go. Okay. There we go. Okay. So we're talking about doing some landscaping in front of Fire Station 42 on Moraga Road. We have a great opportunity here to demonstrate the zero zone, which everybody's really confused about. What do I do if I don't have foundation shrubs up against my house? So our thought is that we're going to take this front wall here and we're going to designate that as the wall of a house. And we're going to demonstrate several different ways that you can make that area attractive and fire-wise so that we have that 5-foot zone with no combustible materials in it. I'll show you a plan in just a minute. And then the area outside that 5-foot zone, zone 1, will demonstrate islands and low fuel and all the other practices that are going to be put into place for fire-wise landscaping. And then over in this area, we'll do maybe some zone 2 and show how that might work. We're also going to take some paths and run them back into the redwoods so that we have some areas to sit. I'm hoping to put out some signs that so people can walk through and they can get educated on what these practices are and why they're being put in this way. I'll show you the plan so that you can see. This is preliminary, so don't get too nervous about it. But this is just one idea, and we'll be getting a lot more input as we proceed. But the idea is that we take this existing wall, so looking straight down on it, and we show several different ways to deal with the space along that wall, depending on what the style of people's gardens, so that they can visualize what they could do with that space. So the first one would be a native garden and a natural garden, and we'd have some boulders and some cobbles and a little sitting area. And then we'd have a Mediterranean garden with Mediterranean plants, traditional, which most of the houses in Moraga and Orinda are. Contemporary, maybe, we'll see. And then this zone 2 plant demonstration area. And then we're also hoping to get some little segments of fencing so that we can show how people can replace their gates that are connected to their house. Maybe we can get some of those donated so that we can show people how fencing might work, and maybe a fireproof gate. We've got a lot of ideas we're bouncing around. But the idea is to inspire people, because there really isn't a whole lot of information about how to make this area attractive, and so that people are willing to give up their junipers up against the house. And yeah, lots of ideas, lots of ideas. Do you have any questions?
I think that looks like an amazing idea, and I think it really will help people. It's hard to show it in pictures. It's hard to show it in words, and actually showing it in a physical thing they can walk through and say, "Oh, this is cool. Gee, I like this side of it, and I'm more excited about the other side of it," or whatever. I think it's a great idea. Thank you so much for coming up with and.
I think it's going to be a lot of fun. We should be able to get a lot of people involved, a lot of clubs. We're hoping to get some people involved in building some little walls and maybe some hardscaping, and maybe get a lot of this material donated so that we can show off the different gravels, the different stones, whatever we can come up with, but it's going to be gorgeous, and that's the important thing.
And we're excited for this project, and we have a good group of master gardeners who live in Moraga and Orinda who are willing to assist. I've also already spoken to Rotary Club, Garden Club. We'll be talking on behalf of master gardeners who are doing this to the town of Moraga. Hopefully, we'll get some in-kind donations, and then Dawn, I believe, has some contacts at East Bay Mud. We're hoping that they'll get involved. And maybe the chief does too. Hopefully they'll get involved and support us at least for the irrigation part of this project. And I think the funds that we're asking for from the board, I think will get us started. You know, we will need some equipment, some things to get started. I've also spoken to the captains, at Station 42, and they're willing to do whatever they need to assist, you know, when they're able to. So I think it's going to be a great project. And I think we're ready to hit the ground. You know, we'll see about how quick we can get it done. Ideally, for planting, it is good to do it in October, you know, by the end of the month before the rains come. So if we approve this tonight, hopefully, you know, in the next couple of days, we can start things in motion and get going. So.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
So I have a quick question. I also am very excited about this project because I think it's really important for people to actually see, feel, touch what a true 5-foot zero non-combustible zone zero would look like in their home. I was a little bit confused because at one point I thought one of the presenters said that there might be some native plants within the 5 feet. My understanding.
No, they're out here.
They're outside the 5 foot. Okay.
Yeah, they're outside the 5 foot. So this would
That's
be.
what I wanted. Yeah. That's what I wanted to clarify because
Right.
the regulations that we expect from the California Board of Forestry is anticipating nothing that's flammable, with the possible exception of a pot that has a plant that.
We'll put a pot of cactus somewhere or something.
Well, succulents
I
don't
like
work
the
well.
idea that there's 5 separate different alternatives so people can pick and
Yeah.
choose.
Yep.
I was a
Once we
little
find
bit
out what the
concerned that
rules are.
might be confusing to people, but I'm sure that we can
Oh,
clarify
no.
that with signs, right?
It's going to be, people will be able to go in from the driveway and go through, and it'll be sort of like the San Francisco garden show almost, you know, like, and now you're entering the Mediterranean area and
Right.
we'll have, I'm hoping that we'll have little signs that will say, the reason that we're doing this is because, you know, we're putting some pots with succulents, you know.
Right. It's a great idea, and I really appreciate all the volunteer time that all you folks put into this.
Well, thank you. And you know, part
Great
of the
service.
UC Master Gardeners mission is an educational component. And
Mhm.
so we'll be required for this project to have, you know, to kind of be up on as our coordinator, but I would say probably 4 sessions in a year where the public will be invited to come out. And as Master Gardeners, we do classes all the time. So
Yeah.
you know, we might say we'll have a composting class there one session. Maybe we'll do native plants, Mediterranean plants, things like that. So we'll be doing that here, probably with a sitting area to the left where the redwoods are, or also to the right.
Mhm.
Yeah, so one way to think of our educational strategy here is I'm really glad for the person who talked about the tactile, the 3D, being able to see things in 3D. But in terms of the education, we're going at this from the idea of having passive education, which would be having environmental signage. So if a casual passerby, what they see in front of the fire station piques their interest, they can walk through it, and there will be signage explaining what is going on. So I would consider that passive education, an informal way of educating. And then we will also have these different kinds of public presentations, hands-on workshops, and that would be an active type of education. Yeah. We're really going at this to get in as much educational content through as many platforms as we are able.
Excellent. Thank you. Okay, so.
Okay, I'll stop sharing now.
Do we have to have public comment now? Is that what's next? Do we have any public comment on this presentation, this great presentation?
So I'm checking for public comment. We do not have any hands raised or public comment.
Do I hear a motion from the board?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to authorize the fire chief to execute an MOU with the Regents of the University of California on behalf of UC Agricultural and Natural Resources and whatever it says, the rest of what it says here, including a approval of a $5,000 initial funding for this project.
Second, Jack second. I'll defer to Director Jex.
Okay.
Director Danziger.
Aye.
Director Jex.
Aye.
Director Romer.
Aye.
Vice President Jorgens.
Aye. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Anna and Don.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much. We are all very excited to see this project move forward and see how we can make our communities fire safe and beautiful at the same time.
Thank you. Okay, 9.2, consideration of establishing a joint fire prevention ad hoc committee with the town of Moraga.
Good evening, directors. The town of Moraga is requesting that we partner with them, very similar to how we do with the city of Orinda and what we call the 2x2 meeting, to discuss fire safety in the zone 0 and all things fire safe. So tonight, it's before you to discuss, deliberate, and consider establishing that joint fire prevention committee similar to Orinda's 2x2.
Okay, do we have any input from the staff or the board or questions?
Well, since this is a request from the town of Moraga and we have two directors represent Moraga and I represent part of Moraga and Orinda, I would think it would be appropriate for probably the Moraga people who represent Moraga to be on this.
I agree.
Um,
Yeah, we have Director Jex. We don't have Director Hassler. Do we have any indication as to whether Director Hassler at prior preliminary discussions has indicated an interest in serving on this committee? Or do we need to wait for his formal?
Why don't we approve the committee and figure out and allow the board members to work with the chief to figure out who wants to be on it and see if they both want to be on it. How's that?
Can we do that outside the meeting or do we?
It only takes two of them, so why not?
So just for clarity, you're wanting to establish the committee
Establish
And
the committee and then we'll,
appoint
and let. and-
later?
And well, and we'll allow the fire chief to figure out if the two people, as was suggested from, that are strictly from Moraga, would want to be on it. And if not, we'll bring it back to the board and figure out who else wants to do it.
We could ask John, right, tonight.
Yeah, we could ask John tonight. And I would suggest we just,
That's okay.
would you do it, Director Jex?
Yes.
Okay, I would say let's, how about we do a default by asking Hassler to do it? If for some reason he can't or chooses not to, both you and I have a slice of Moraga in our district, but I really do think it's most appropriate to have Director
You
Hassler.
have Moraga? I don't think so.
I think there's a couple of neighborhoods.
I don't think so. No.
I don't
If
think-
not, then, well, if,
He's
even
up
if
to
we
it.
did and you preferred to be the
Well,
plan B, but I think Director Hassler is going to want to do it.
well, since he's not here.
Why don't we agree
I
to
think
form
we
the
should
committee?
appoint him.
Yeah, why don't we appoint him subject to his approval
Subject,
because we
yes.
can't. yeah.
Subject to his
Absolutely.
approval.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so do we have any public comment on this?
So public comment is open. We do not have any hands raised or public comment.
So do I hear a motion to approve this and have those two people be in the committee?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the establishment of the Joint Fire Prevention Ad Hoc Committee with the town of Moraga and appoint conditionally Director Jex and Director Hassler,
This is Romer, second.
pending their, well, Director
Just to
Jex.
say yes, so.
Yeah.
Director Danziger.
Aye.
Director Jex.
Aye.
Director Romer.
Aye.
And
Yes, aye. Okay, thank you. On to 9.3, adopt resolution 25-14, authorizing the architectural services agreement with Mr. Kawasaki Architects and approving the personal services agreement for on-call architectural and consulting services to support current and future district facility projects.
Good evening, directors. Tonight, staff is requesting board's consideration for Resolution 2514 and an associated contract, which authorizes architectural service agreement with Shaw Kawasaki Architects. The district continues to prioritize with its capital improvement plan, including the remodel Station 45, rebuild of Station 41, and potential relocation of administrative staff. Shaw Kawasaki Architects has proven track record with us, having completed Station 43 replacement and design schematics for Station 45. This agreement provides a district with flexible on-call architectural and consulting services to support current and future facility projects. Their work will help us evaluate site access, space needs, functional layouts, and long-term operational requirements. Staff is recommending adoption of 2514 and approval of personal service agreement with Shaw Kawasaki Architects to ensure we have the expertise needed to advance these architect projects.
Okay, do we have any discussion or questions from the board?
I don't.
Do we have any public comment?
Public comment is open. We do not have any hands raised for public comment.
Do I hear a motion to approve this resolution?
I second that motion.
Who approved?
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 25-14.
All right, and we have a second from Director Jex.
Yes.
Director Danziger?
Aye.
Director Jex?
Yes.
Director Romer?
Aye.
Vice President Jorgens?
Aye. Okay, it's approved.
Okay.
On to 9.4. Maybe. Adopt resolution 25-18 authorizing a retirement plan services agreement with BFSG LLC to provide investment services for the Section 115 trust plans with public agency retirement services. Authorize the fire chief to or designee to execute any additional documents necessary to complete the transaction to BFSG LLC as registered investment advisor.
My partner, Jim Ross, is on the screen and will present the report.
Good evening, members of the board. As you know, we've talked about this issue several times over the last 6 or 7 months. There were various concerns that we had about making this transition. We've been able to work through those, and the change over to BFSG would essentially put you in the exact same position that you are now, except that it would be a different investment advisor. In order to make the transition from that relationship from the prior investment advisor, there are some additional documents that need to be executed in addition to the agreement. So what we're asking this evening is that you approve the agreement and then authorize the fire chief to be able to execute those additional documents, just change over to BFSG as the investment advisor.
So do we have any questions or comments from the board?
Yeah, this is Director Danziger. I've opposed this this plan from the beginning, and I continue to vote no on it. I think we should continue to stay where our money is invested and not do this contract with BFSG. That's it.
Any other comments? So we're really just changing investment advisors. We're not changing the kinds of investments that we have necessarily. And I noticed that in the last annual report that was included in our consent agenda today, that they, once again, for 6 years in a row, I think it is now, have underperformed the S&P 500 index. This time it was only by about 0.5%, but that's a pretty big deal. And their fees are roughly quadruple what the fees are that we're going to be getting from the new people. So it's going to cost us about $60,000 a year in fees if we keep going with the same people, and we're going to have potentially continue to have subpar returns. So for me, I think it's a good idea. This is dramatically different than what had been discussed previously. We are not doing, it is the same kind of investment advisor. It's just a different investment advisor that we're going with. The board isn't taking on any additional liability. It's literally, it's all been approved by the U.S. Bank. and, you know, all the trustees that we have. So for me, it's a very straightforward decision.
So you said this is 50, we're actually paying fewer fees, a lower percentage in fees for the new one than we did for the old one?
It's
By
less,
$50,000.
less than a third roughly.
Is
of the fee.
that's accurate?
That's correct, yes.
So this does not constitute as a directed investment, correct?
No,
So that removes all the concerns that we had about liability, either to the board or to the department, right?
Yeah, let me let Jim address that.
Yeah, essentially, it'll be the exact same relationship that you have now. It's just a different investment advisor. The board will still have the investment policy, which will guide the investments of the investment advisor, just like you have in the current situation. And then they'll take the responsibility to invest those funds within that investment policy.
And so we're only 0.5% below the Standard and Poor's 500 index
this last quarter we were. In previous times, we'd been as much as half
with the other investment.
with the other investment advisor.
So we're anticipating that that would be the pattern going forward, correct?
What?
That we're going to be closer to we're going to be very close to the Standard and it's as if we had a Standard and Poor's. It's as if we were directing.
Yeah, I mean, to be clear,
Direct in a Standard and Poor's 500 index, but without the liability concerns.
so to be clear, what we're really doing is just getting a new investment advisor within the framework that we currently had. How you instruct that advisor will be something that, as we usually do with an investment advisor, they'll come and you'll have a discussion with them and et cetera. So this action that you're taking tonight does not dictate any particular investment strategy. It just brings on the new advisor. And then at that point, you will work with them just as you've worked with PFM.
Well, I want to respect Director Danzinger's objections. Maybe I don't understand them because I don't see, I think we've discussed this for 6 or 7 years.
Yeah.
And your concern has been the liability issue, right?
Yes.
But the liability issue is now off the table with this proposal. So what is the nature?
I'm not convinced of that. I can't give you real specifics. I just think we should stay where we are. That's it.
Okay.
So
That-
I think our council has explained that the liability issue
This is
Yeah, maybe
different.
I'm
This is
missing
a little
something.
different than
is
we had.
different than we've been discussing.
Yeah, so,
Right.
But
but I'm still gonna,
it's not a difference that makes a significant difference. The big issue for me was the liability thing.
Yep.
Mhm.
So
All right, well, then I don't have any further questions. I see it as a good move forward.
Okay.
so do we have any public comment?
So public comment is open. We do not have any public comment.
I'll close public comment. Does anybody want to make a motion?
This is Director Romer. I would make a motion under 9.4 to adopt resolution 25.18 authorizing a retirement plan services agreement with BFSG LLC to provide investment services for the section 115 trust plans with public agency retirement services. Authorize the fire chief or his designee to execute any additional documents necessary to complete the transition to BFSG LLC as registered investment advisor.
I second the motion.
Marcia?
Director Danziger,
No.
Director Jex,
Aye, yes.
Director Romer,
Aye.
Vice President Jorgens.
Aye. Motion passes.
Item 10, we have committee reports.
Do we
Audit
have-
committee.
Do we have any audit committee input this time?
No, but the audit is starting this end of this month. And so we'll have a meeting probably after they finish.
Okay. The ad hoc joint fire prevention, I don't think we've had one. We haven't had one since the last meeting, so no, we don't have anything. And the Station 45 Facilities Project, I don't believe we've had one since the last meeting either, but now that we have the contract with Kawasaki, hopefully we'll have one of those meetings soon that we can be on.
Okay.
Okay.
And
Any public comment on the lack of committee reports?
we do not have any public comment.
Okay, requests for future agenda items. Anybody else have any?
I do have one.
Mhm.
We met our new ambulance supervisor today. I'd like to get an update And I heard we've pivoted. I heard that was your word, that we've pivoted in our program a little bit as far as the hiring. I'd like to get an update on the agenda where we can hear, a timeline and just by next month, see how we're doing and what, basically what the timeline is for hiring and implementation. And I would like to see, addressed, the limited duration positions. I'd really like to get a good rationale in writing of why we're doing the limited duration. I said the timeline and also the training component. After we do the hiring, I'm not real clear. Do they go through some kind of academy somewhere or do we do it all ourselves? I don't really understand how that happens. So I'd like to see all that in an updated report.
Okay, and I have a couple of agenda items I'd like to put on. One is to ask MOFD or put on the topic just to discuss having MOFD have input into the emergency evacuation situations that are being presented by large scale developments. I think there are some happening in both Moraga and especially in Orinda, and especially to meet these state mandated, increase housing agendas. And I think, it can include things like, are the roads wide enough? Were they approved before we had standards? What kind of parking do we allow on the roads? So we should have, I want to discuss the idea that the fire district have input into the planning of these developments, including also the kinds of fire hardening that are required for the construction of the new facilities that were going to be planned by the state. The second thing would be the Moraga-Orinda, I believe it's called the Community Firewise Organization. They keep changing. They changed their names a couple of times along the way, and I'm a little rusty. But they I know approached the Orinda City Council last night, I believe it was, regarding funding. And, they do a lot of good work. I think they are the organization now for both Moraga and Orinda that set up new Firewise communities. And they also have grants they've received from the outside. And I think, again, they've asked for money from the city of Orinda to do grants to especially low income or needy people within our community to help do fuel abatement. So I would like to discuss the kinds of funding that we might be able to provide to those folks. I think and I would encourage us I will have them reach out ahead of time to make sure that they have structured themselves. So there were issues a year or two ago when they were getting formed about, but I'm pretty sure they took care of all the issues that they had about people on the board and advisors and structures and things so that we wouldn't have any problem with that. But I think it's Firewise communities, I think, are an important education part of our efforts. And I think we should think about or discuss having funding some of those.
Can I just jump on that a little bit?
Sure.
I would add, like Director Jorgen said, I support putting this on the agenda as well, but I'd like to about their organization and to my knowledge, MOFD hasn't funded a nonprofit before, and I just want to know if there's any issues with that. If they are an official nonprofit, if they've done everything, is there anything we need to be aware of? I mean, we're not going to have control of this money really, and whatever it is, if we approve it, and I just want to know about us actually funding a nonprofit. So
we do CERT, and it's a nonprofit.
Okay.
Well, this is a little different because we are funding a nonprofit to fund people. And so we did express some concerns, last time this came up, I don't know, it was maybe a year ago. And so I'm looking forward to talking with them and understanding between now and the next meeting. I understand they've made a number of changes to address some of our concerns about favoritism and other things that could occur in this situation. So I don't know anything at this point.
Okay,
beyond
yeah,
that,
I'm just
but I will
asking
look into
that be part of it.
If
Yeah.
nothing else, it's, we all want to make sure that it's done right. But they also have overhead that they, when they go out so there's the grants they do, and there's also the Firewise, arranging for and helping arrange for new Firewise organizations, and that takes overhead. So even if we're just funding overhead, that would be something that we could discuss. So, and the last one, as our guest here brought up, there is a significant amount of development that's, again, going to be occurring in both Orinda and Moraga, I believe, both state mandated development and just regular development. And I think we should talk to both the city, we're put on the agenda, the idea of talking to both the city of Orinda and the town of Moraga about charging the fees that he discussed, and see if that makes sense to us, and, have an idea if, what kind of increased service requirements we will have when we add a huge new amount of population in a fairly dense area. Do we need any different kinds of equipment? Do we need more ambulances? Do we need more people? What are the things, planning advisor, planning, plan approval people, that sort of thing, because there's going to be a lot of new stuff coming down the pike. So just put that on the agenda to discuss the reasonableness, and maybe not just whether it's a good idea, but also, if we think what kinds of needs we think we might have. So just, again, putting that concept on the agenda.
On that topic, sir, can I ask that we put that on October? I'm gonna have to have some pretty in-depth conversations with the city manager and town manager, and probably the city and town attorneys to look at that. So I'd like a little bit of time
More time.
to
Great.
work through that with them.
And that would probably not be inconsistent with both of the 2x2 committees preliminarily raising this issue with their counterparts on the town of Moraga and the city of Orinda before October.
Yep.
Do we need any authorization from the full board to authorize our 2x2 committees to bring the subject up?
I think we get to bring up anything we want to, as long as this is a topic of discussion. We don't get to have it. We don't get to make
Right.
requests, and we
Right,
don't
right,
get to,
right.
demand anything, but
Right.
certainly bring up the topic. Yes.
We will open public comment as soon as they're done with adding any further items.
Yeah, I have no further comment.
Okay, go ahead.
Just one more, and maybe by next month, we'll be able to have an update on the Department of Forestry's actions towards Zone Zero.
Yes, sir. I was hoping to have a update this month, but what we would have put in the packet Friday changed Monday at the board's forestry meeting. September, the Board of Forestry is scheduled to hold a meeting in Los Angeles or somewhere in the Southern California area. I spent 5 hours listening to their meeting. There was a lot of complaints coming from Southern California, so I anticipate more changes after their meeting
Okay.
down south. But
If
I
we can
will,
get an update next time.
yes, sir.
You could,
I,
it doesn't have to be an agenda item. You
Yeah.
can do it during chief update
Okay.
at some point.
and I would specifically ask, I heard something to the effect that the State Board of Forestry might be applying the zone zero, 5-foot zone zero, only to state responsibility areas and not to local area responsibilities?
Well, that was one of the discussion items in the draft regulations, or that they specifically wrote it for a state responsibility area. The legislator specifically directed them to write the legislation for local responsibility area, very high fire hazard severity zones. So that was one of the discussion topics Monday, and a lot of people had opinions on that. So it'll be interesting to see if the Board of Forestry follows the direction of the legislator and the governor with the timeframes and everything, or if they go do their own thing.
I suppose the governor and the legislature could override that decision, couldn't they? And wouldn't,
I'm not familiar enough with their process.
that?
or
The
to-
law's already been passed that already
so
stated it had to
the
be.
Board of Forestry ignored the mandate of the legislature?
They just didn't include the language out of the legislation in their draft regulations, or it would be a nice way to put it. The law
Yes,
is on
sure.
the law's on the books that it will
Okay.
apply to the very high NLRA.
Even though they don't allow fireworks this time of year, there probably are going to be some. So, yeah.
That seems
Any
like
other items?
That's a big issue.
Okay, now, Nick, we can get back to your public comment. Thank you.
I would just, on the subject of the development impact fees, I would just like to ask the chief, with whom I have a good working relationship, to please meet with me in addition to meeting with the city and town managers because I have spent 5 years on this topic. I've researched it. I've written about it. I've spoken to the Orinda city manager about it. And I believe I have that as a resident and someone who's researched this, I think I have a perspective that would be of benefit to the staff presentation on this. So I'm not asking for any kind of commitment or anything, or for anyone to instruct anybody to do anything. I just want to say while I'm here that I would very much welcome the opportunity to sit down and share my perspective and what I know about this. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay. That's quick. You got 1:56 left. Marcia, is that? So that's the end of our public comment. I'll close public comment on that. And the future agenda items are set. And
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Director Danziger?
Aye.
Director Jex?
Aye.
Director Romer?
Aye.
Vice President Jorgens?
aye.
The time is 8:32.
Nice.
We do. Oh, yeah, here we go. Okay.